Thank you, Manav, and thanks everyone for joining us in this panel. So how many women are here today? Can you please raise your hands? Quite few, right? Yeah, so please hold on to your questions because this panel will gonna be a very interesting one and we'll have an open round of questions. So I'm very delighted to have you all here. So please round of applause to our beautiful ladies here and of course women in blockchain.
And smart. And smart.
I'll get introduce themselves to you and we'll start with Anna.
Okay. Hi, I'm Jessica. You know me already, so I'll let them go.
Could you check that mic, please? Hi, yeah, you've seen me a couple of times already. Anna from Decentralized Ventures, operating out of jurisdictions such as Gibraltar, Malta, and now the UAE. Obviously working in the blockchain space. Been very involved in companies doing fundraising, so ICOs, IEOs, things like that, all very compliant, may I add. So yeah, that's my background.
Good morning, or almost afternoon now. So I'm from KPMG India. I lead the KPMG Accelerator and the non-fintech blockchain service line. Uh, yeah, as we discussed, maybe we'll tell more about what we do in KPMG for blockchain and also for the women perspective of it.
Thank you. Diana?
Yeah, so you guys have already seen me speak. So I'm Gyan Lakshmi. I'm the leadership fellow for blockchain at Women Who Code. Jessica had already mentioned, but I've been a developer predominantly for 6 years. I've also been a developer in the blockchain space for 2 years now, and now moved to a leadership role. So hello, everyone.
Thank you. Jessica? You have done? Thank you. And yeah, research says the technology is still a male-dominated arena. And I have got a report here that says, in blockchain space, according to a report gathered from GitHub data very recently, less than 5% of the code committed to the top 100% blockchain projects on GitHub were just contributed by women. So with that, my first question to all of you is there really a problem with why don't we see more women in the blockchain space? We'll start with Jessica.
I really, it's funny because I actually planned this panel myself, but I guess I did it in a bit to make a bit of a point. So I think we see at a lot of blockchain conferences, a lot of crypto conferences, these women in blockchain panels, right? But I think the issue is, why is it an issue? I think the whole thing is about transcending the binary. Can this stop being an issue even? Why is this even a discussion? And so, you know, I called this panel Diversity in Blockchain and Innovation because it's not just women in blockchain. There should already be qualified women on panels. We shouldn't need our own panel. And I think Locke has a lot she wanted to say about this, so if you want to go ahead and just riff on that, because I think this is a really interesting discussion and why we waste a lot of energy talking about it.
We had already a first round of discussion questioning the very thing, why there is a separate women in blockchain group. We do the same amount of work, be it development, architecture, or anything related to these emerging technologies. So why does it need to be a different women panel? My view on this, at least in the blockchain space, and perhaps I can comment even on the AI space, there is no need for separate the panel itself, because I feel this is the two areas, and especially the emerging tech is the areas where women are getting to break that glass ceiling and move forward and carve themselves a new parallel path whereas typically the legacy path has already been taken up by men and very difficult to move through. Like as the Jessica was saying, the discussions in the typical panel happens, the types in which the promotions happens or any of the activity happens in these areas are different. But in innovation, in blockchain, it's a bit different. So it's helping in a way for women to move up.
And Locke, I just want to say, because why it's still an issue, I just want to share a quick personal experience before we dive more into the experience. I was at a Bitcoin conference in Miami, and there was there was a networking event that was held at a strip club. And it ended up in Bloomberg as well. So if you Google it, you can find it in Bloomberg, Bitcoin Conference Miami. And so this is why it's still an issue. So I just wanted to share that experience. That was kind of crazy. No one had any idea. We just had the name of a venue and went there. And then everyone, even the men, were walking out like, this is so unprofessional, this is so crazy. So yeah, this is why it's still an issue in some places. So anyhow, I just wanted to share that. But
Yeah, so I would like to share my perspective, maybe from a developer perspective. For a lot of other technologies, right, emerging technologies, if you see IoT, if you see AI, there are a lot of jobs that are visible to the community or to the masses, right? Like people know that if I learn artificial intelligence or if I, deep dive into, even specific stuff like data visualization, all that, there are always constant openings that are out there, right? Because women or most of the women don't tend to seek these opportunities. They feel like if there are opportunities are there, I will take advantage of it. But in this blockchain space, especially in India, being fairly, I would still say new in the job context, like you don't graduate out and there isn't like a job that's already waiting for you. You have to make opportunities for yourselves, especially in the entrepreneurial space. There's a lot of scope for you to implement blockchain, like, in terms of data privacy or identity management, etc. So I feel like this trend is also because of the fact that there is no visible takeaway in this technology as of today. So women are a little hesitant to get into it. And second of all, because there isn't too much entrepreneurial buzz about really having blockchain implemented in your ideas, etc. They still feel that they still have a blocker to take that next step and really deep dive into the technology.
Hi, yeah, so while I will totally agree everything you say, we are like quite sick of the need for these, but there is a need. For now, it is changing. I believe it is getting better. At least like we have a platform where we can highlight to people just so people are constantly aware. It's got to be a holistic process that we just keep looking at and keep reviewing, I think. Regarding opportunities sort of in the blockchain space, the super exciting thing about this is, and with it being decentralized and so disruptive and so new, there is this opportunity to level the playing field, and I can't think of an industry, certainly in my lifetime, where there's been this opportunity, so exciting.
So do you think the problem is with region-wise, language-wise? Can you point any specific problem in that?
I'm not sure about where this all originates from. I think it's a really highly complex issue and there's not one thing that we can point to. I think maybe what's helpful as well is maybe we can share more with our counterparts and our male colleagues about how exactly we can be more inclusive with each other. How can we break down this weird wall? How can we not feel so separate or like we're in competition? So I think maybe it's more of a dialogue with men. I thought about putting a man up here actually, but I just thought it would be fun to have a wild time up here. No, but yeah, seriously, maybe just more dialogue at work, and maybe you all can weigh in as well on either your experience or if you have some tips, for our male colleagues out there of how to be more inclusive, how to handle the dialogue. I think maybe it's as well like just not even knowing how to broach the subject, being scared of like harassment laws and things like this.
Yeah, so I just think being constructive and being supportive with each other and having that open dialogue, exactly how are things going to improve if we don't have that? So it's just constantly being open and being supportive is my answer.
Well, perhaps I have a different view to this. Perhaps it is only the India view. So where is blockchain happening in India is mostly GICs of large companies who are setting up their innovation as a theme or starting to do something in blockchain and AI area to be more of value providers to their parent companies. Now, this being an area which is a bit experimental within the organization, women get more large opportunity to cash in on this. If you were to go and talk about who all are the innovation managers in the GICs and who are the few team members who are architecting on blockchain and AI, you will find a lot more women there. So me, when I work as the person who's leading digital transformation and talking about how emerging tech can help, I tend to interact a lot more with women than men. So in Indian perspective, at least the Bangalore perspective, women are actually are able to cash in on this risky area, because for men it's a risky career option. You know, you don't know where it's blockchain going. Maybe that's not the career path they want to take. But you know, we having the experimental being bold in this, we see a lot more women in blockchain, especially in the architecture perspective.
Yeah, so I'm a part of a global community, and I interact with people across the globe, like different continents, India, Europe, US, etc. And I feel that this is not a problem which is geographically centered or which is local, but going back to what Anna had told in the beginning, that this is a level playing field, and there are literally so many opportunities that everybody can leverage. What I feel like can actually happen or can improve the situation is for really our counterparts to give that little bit of push. I've seen that it really helps and works a lot. Like especially when I was with VMware, we had an innovation director who always used to push women teams to write more research papers. And because what used to happen with women teams is that they used to submit an idea for a hackathon. They used to get selected in the hackathon, and then the cycle ends. But if you have seen, men tend to pursue their idea, to take it out of the box. So this innovation director always used to, really single out those women teams and be like, hey, are you pursuing your idea? Hey, are you pursuing your idea? And I don't think that this is a must for everyone to do, but I feel like if this could be done more often, I think it would be really great, especially in a new and a technology where your path is really undefined. If somebody shows strong belief that certain ideas can be taken forward and they have worth, then they should definitely contribute to doing it.
All right, thank you. And taking a note from Jessica's point, diversity. Do you think there is a need to raise awareness of gender inequality or diversity in the sector of blockchain? And if so, how do we do that?
I think there's already quite a lot of awareness. I think I'm in about 100 women Telegram groups. So there's so many things already happening as far as women coming together. I think what's not happening is women and men coming together. Those are only in really progressive circles. So it's still this, again, binary. It's still this separation. It's still a separate party. Although some of those groups, actually, in fairness, many of the women's groups are inviting men into the group. So on Facebook, there are some groups, I actually saw discussions of this, like governance discussions, should we invite men in our group? And there was like a battle going on, the feminists are like, no, this is our group. And then the other women were like, no, the whole point is diversity, so yes, let them in. So I think, the women thing is happening, but there's still this barrier that the more progressive thinkers are trying to break through. And I think what's helping with that, and I'll mention because this hotel, if you haven't noticed, has a Pride Week awareness campaign going on, is what's really breaking that down is transgender persons and the LBGT community, because they're so far past man-women battles. So I think actually for me, I learned the most from that community in how to get past looking at people as male or female.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with those comments. And another exciting thing about this blockchain space is it's seeming to attract like really free thinkers, really inquisitive people, and that's really, really positive again for leveling that playing field, going on from what you were saying. So it is all moving in the right direction.
I feel blockchain itself empowers women. Okay, so this talks about decentralization. What has been holding women back is the ways of working. Now you have organizations or you have blockchain applications which have, I'm not able to recall the name of that company, where we feel there's a project where people come together as an organizational ecosystem work on that project, deliver it, and then go back to their, existing life. So that's itself empowering us, because we need that, flexibility to work from home, to take care of the kids and manage work, and not be bound by having to head out to a destined office and work in that. So this is helping us. And we saw how the Me Too movement in China was supported by blockchain, because it gave them the anonymity to post those things. So blockchain itself is a concept that empowers women. So it's the one thing that we can push forward. All we can do is push the blockchain concept itself more, because it's going to take women along as such.
Can I just say how much I'm enjoying this conversation? I've been in women in blockchain panels around the world, and India is blowing me away right now because, this is the most progressive, forward-thinking, intelligent discussion that I've heard on it. And on that note, for me, India and sharing a perspective, an international perspective coming in India, there is this sense for women in India, they know that in the US, women are trying to be men. That's why they can't compete. They think that's where their power lies. But Indian women, and what I respect so much is, your power is in being a woman. There's a power to the feminine. So Latin America, India, you totally understand this. But in US, they're just so busy trying to battle men all the time. So it's a beautiful thing, and thank you so much.
Yeah, actually, honestly, this is the most I've had conversation I've had on a blockchain panel about diversity, because most of the women in blockchain panels, the ones that I've attended, have been converted into technical panels for some or the other reason. So I'm also honestly enjoying this conversation. And I would like to say that, like my co-panelists have already mentioned, it's already an era where men are really looking to kind of support this whole thing, and and blockchain itself as a technology is empowering women. If you would have seen my community picture screenshot, out of the 227 odd members that I have as of now, most of them are men, and I've had at least 2 to 3 webinars which have been solely delivered by men for the network itself. So I think it's already the diversity, I think we're already transcending the binary as we speak, but it's also necessary to keep these conversations going unless and until we see, a place wherein we don't, like we said, there shouldn't be a need to have a women in blockchain panel anymore.
Thank you, everyone. I'm sorry we are running out of time, but still we have just 2 minutes left, and I want to open this up for open discussion. Anybody wants to ask anything? Anybody is there?
Go for it.
Okay. Anybody from women's side?
Yeah, please.
Sure,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can ask. Nobody raised their hands.
And I run a news site called CoinCrunch India, and we have a section in there which is women in blockchain, right? And I understand where it comes from when you guys say that we don't really need those things, because women are being empowered, and they are at least in this space, they are getting the opportunities and all. But what we do is we have a group, and if people are saying, 1,500 people on the group, why are no women trading? Why are they not talking about what are cryptocurrencies and all? So then we find that person, and then we write about that, right? So I think that somewhere here in technology, at least in Bangalore, there might not be a problem. But in India, for instance, we have a very bad patriarchal background, right? And that is where men, women, everybody needs to come together and sort of change that attitude. And these panels or these discussions actually go to college students and school students, and that's where the empowerment has to start. That's what I believe in. What do you think about that?
Okay, so I can talk about in the student community or the background. What's been happening is why women move out after a certain point of time. As you said, rightly pointed out, the patriarchal system that doesn't push women to do more. Okay, so that's being said. That's an ecosystem. How do we battle? Be it blockchain, AI, or anything is the same. But I feel again, how blockchain or crypto will be better. You may not see a lot of women buying cryptocurrency, but maybe they are. Maybe they're going under the pseudonym, because anonymity is the key. So as she was rightly saying, Indian women are not trying to be a man, you know. We are trying to just find the areas which are untouched and try to push ourselves through that. And if you, I do multiple career discussions in KPMG, and all the time they say this is an area but I am sure no man will want to do. Give me this chance to make this app, or let me just work with this startup and take this forward, because I think this is where I will be able to make my mark and make the niche. So that's the path, you know, path which is not being competitive but with the path untrodden. And exactly is what blockchain is laying on for, the untrodden path. And I guess women are ready to take it on. And once they are past that bridge from college to the industry, it will be quite evident to them that, you know, that this is the option to take up, be it blockchain, AI, or any of the other newer technologies which are not being adopted as a mainstream, largely paying area immediately, but future holds a lot of promise.
That's correct. Thank you so much. Thanks for the wonderful panel, and thanks Blockchain Ed India for this session. Thank you.
Thank
Hope
you so
enjoyed
much
this.
for the awesome moderation.